Hey everybody, John Van Dyke here for New Jersey Exposed. Today is Tuesday, February 8th, 2022. Time is 2:07 p.m. Yes, Jersey time. A warmer 40s kind of day, but windy, so it still feels cold out there. Okay, so I have a bootlicker story, or just an example of the bootlickers. The other part of the equation that enables bad police. We have bad police, that we all know for sure, but there's another side of it, and that is the people that enable, the people that give them a free pass. They make excuses. They attack people like me who call the police out for the crap that they do. Now, this has to do with a Facebook posting on the Holmdel Township Police Department Facebook page. For those of you who are not in the area and don't know about Holmdel Township, Holmdel Township is a very well-to-do neighborhood, especially if you live up on the hill. There are very expensive houses. People in that town are not broke, or maybe they are broke, but they live in very nice houses, and they drive very nice cars. And the police department is very well taken care of. Most officers are making six figures. There are a few that are making a little bit under that, but that's because they're still new on the job. They haven't gotten their couple of years in, 5 years, but for the most part, they're all up there in the six figures. And they're doing very well for themselves, the police department, that is. Now, one of the things that's been in my crosshair with Holmdel Township Police is a couple of years ago, I documented them sitting parked in the middle of a road. I mean the middle, folks, the middle. There's a big yellow cross lines out there, and they sat in the middle on what is known as Laurel Avenue, and they would face their car with the plate reader as cars are heading east. They're coming off the parkway. It's a downward motion when you're going east on that road. And they would sit there with a plate reader and their radar, and they would just screw with people all the time, until one day I had enough and went out there with a camera on more than one occasion and exposed them for what they're doing. And for the most part, they have backed off a lot on that. That's not to say that they still don't do it, but they do. And one of the reasons that this department and every other department is focused on motor vehicle stops, because you know the brass will tell you, the cops will tell you, well, no, we do other things besides motor vehicle stuff. Well, that may be so, but we know what the priority is, and there's two priorities that are within the motor vehicle enforcement, and one is to generate revenue being a very big part of it. The other part of it is that they, from motor vehicle stops, can try to get into people's vehicles. If you don't look right, they're going to bring the mutt out. They're going to do whatever. They're going to violate your rights. They're going to trick you into allowing them into their car. But they know from experience that they can get a lot of arrests from motor vehicle stops. So anyway, that's not what this particular story is about, but it's part of the equation as to why I'm on the attack with Holmdel Police. I don't have a personal vendetta against any of their police officers. It all has to do with policies. So this was posted 2 days ago, so we'll say it's February 6th. Reads as follows: attempted motor vehicle burglary. There's been a rash of burglaries in Holmdel. Cars being stolen, houses being broken into, and it seems to be no end in sight. And it seems to me that Holmdel Police have no plan or idea what to do about this, other than to come on Facebook and whine and cry how they need your help. And then the other thing they do is they lay the guilt trip on it, and they blame it all on us. That's right, us. All of us, that it's our fault. Houses are being broken into and cars are being stolen and broken into. Again, this is a gaslighting. This is a big technique that I see police are doing. They're gaslighting. They're blaming it all on you. See, you're the one that didn't go to the police academy. You're the one that's doing things that's making their job harder. See, they don't want to have a hard job. They want to be able to do what they do with impunity. All right, let me read the story here. At 11:47 hours this morning, so that's 11:47 a.m. this morning, officers responded to a residence on Sussex Road where a resident found a male subject sitting in one of his vehicles in his driveway. Upon observing the resident, the subject ran to a silver four-door BMW that was parked in the street at the end of the driveway, which fled the area. The attached photo is from a similar incident that occurred earlier today in Mattawan, where the same vehicle is believed to have been involved. And here it is. Okay, get ready. So, I posted something which I know is not going to be popular with the bootlickers. And no doubt the police don't want me posting this because it puts them in an uncomfortable spot. Okay, so I posted, where were your patrol units at while this was taking place? Taxpayers don't pay you 6 figures a year to take reports and then ask the public to help you do your job. Maybe I should open a request all the motor vehicle stop logs and tickets during that time frame. And that's a question mark. And there it is right there. All right, get ready. It triggers the bootlickers. Okay, so this is from Kim Wangan Casola. John Van Dyke, are you serious? You honestly think our officers can be all places at all times? This is a very common response that I get. And this is just another way of making excuses and rationalizing why the police don't have to do their job. Do you realize the amount of roads we have in the township? Well, I realize the amount of officers you have on the road driving around. Well, they don't really drive around. They spend most of their time parked. Asking the public for input is a far cry from asking to do the job of the officers. We have an excellent and responsive PD in Holmdel, for which I am grateful. Residents need to be responsible, lock their vehicles and homes, and not leave valuables in sight. Let me just respond to that. What about the houses that get broken into? There was one instance where they broke into the house. Oh, they got in the car. They got a hold of the door thing, the garage door opener, opened up the door and got into. What about the houses where they bust the door and they get in? This is ridiculous. Okay, so let's get ready for my responses. Okay, Kim Wangan Casola. They can't be anywhere if they're parked in the middle of Laurel Avenue with a plate reader, stalking motorists, or sitting in the Holmdel Motor Inn watching traffic go by. Save the rationale and excuses for someone else. And then I also further responded, Kim Wangan Casola. Police love people like you. You give them a free pass and don't hold them accountable. Whoopsie. Okay, so I got another one today. This is from Megan Bowler Morrow. John Van Dyke, what do you have against the police? You're always putting your comments on here. Have you been in trouble before? This is another very common one I get. You know, it's like, what do I have against the police? Well, I don't really have a personal gripe with any police department per se. I have a gripe about how they're operating, how much money we pay them, and we get very little in return. Because it seems like people like Morgan and this Kim, you know, their mindset is that the more police we have, the better we're protected. But that's not true at all, because the police, as we all know, though they may want to be protecting us, they're not protecting us. They show up after the fact, and they take a report, they give you some sympathies, they give you a directive, and then they go on Facebook, like in this case here, and they ask for help. Now, I don't personally have a problem with the police asking for help, But this seems to be the routine all the time. Show up, take a report, and ask the public for help. And while they're at it, they will lecture you about what you should be doing. It's always a directive. The police can't go through the day without a directive. We've learned that in every audit video we've ever watched. Okay, so I responded. Megan Bowler Morrow, why do you give them a free pass all the time? You seem to be okay with anything they do. You're always making excuses. See, what she was trying to do was trying to get me to explain myself, and I don't need to explain myself. I think my position is pretty clear. We pay you 6 figures a year. You get the best of equipment. You get a great paycheck. You're well treated. Let's see, what are we getting in return for our money? That is my question all the time. Really, that's what I'm saying. What are we getting in return for our money? And in return for your money, you're not getting anything except for an officer who shows up, takes a report, and then they go on Facebook and do their thing. Okay, so there you go. Take a look. That's all of them there. And I'll give a thumbs up to Holmdel. They don't delete my posts. They don't block me. But I think one of the things that's going to happen, one of the trends is I see on Facebook where I call the police out or I ask uncomfortable questions is that they change their Facebook settings so that you can't respond. You can only read their postings and then there's no way to add a comment. Or the other thing that they do or has been done to me, the Monmouth County Sheriff's Department does it, they make it so that I can post and the only people see what I post are my friends. The rest of the world can't see anything I post. So, but this is the big part of the problem, that nobody's holding them accountable. And when somebody like me gets on there and calls them out, say, hey, we're paying you 6 figures a year. We don't pay you to take reports, and we don't pay you to come on Facebook and give us directives. And when you do that, the bootlickers get very upset. They're like aghast. I personally don't think mentally they can't handle a citizen calling the police out, because in their little world, they respect authority. Authority is everything. They believe the police are there to protect them. And when somebody like me or anybody else for that fact goes on there and says something to the contrary, you are questioning their view of the world, or the view of the police department. They think that you hate the police. They think that the police did something to you or whatever. And for the record, for the most part, no police officer has ever done anything really bad to me. I mean, I've had a couple cops who were absolute assholes on the motor vehicle stop. I had an incident once over in Fort Monmouth where an officer, a Fort Monmouth cop, a federal cop there, was way out of hand with me, and I made a complaint. This is years ago. This is back in the late 90s, before I was involved in all this auditing, and I had a problem with this cop. I mean, I really was scared, but I didn't know my rights. I didn't know how to do things back then. They certainly would have had a different outcome. Probably wouldn't have gotten as far as it went. But I did file a complaint, and the colonel that was in charge of the police department at the time called me in. We had a nice conversation, and he took care of the matter, and I was satisfied. I didn't hold that officer's actions against the whole Fort Monmouth police department, because military police at that time, because I never really had a bad experience on Fort Monmouth. We always knew that when you went down Hope Road, which went through Fort Monmouth, or you went through Fort Monmouth itself, that you obeyed the speed limit, because that was a big thing out there. Speeding was a big thing. I had it one time back in '79. Fort Monmouth pulled my car over, and I had a headlight out, and I didn't have any insurance on my car at the time. I was out with my girlfriend. I'm 19 years old, but the cop just pulled me over and said, hey, your headlight's out, and I just played stupid. Oh, thank you. And that's it. So I really don't have any bad experiences or anything that I could say triggered my mind to go after police. So I don't do these videos with animosity. I do it because it's the right thing to do. I do it because I feel police are out of control, and I feel they need to be reined in, and I feel that we're not getting our money's worth out of them. And as an older man now, I start to see things a little bit different. I see through the bullshit.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
So I'll finish it up. This is not to be a lengthy video. We have to push back against these bootlickers because they're the ones that are really enabling bad cops. And if we want to help the police become better, then we have to work on these bootlickers who keep telling the police how wonderful they are. And we know nowadays the police are not wonderful. They're not out protecting us. They're out enforcing laws. They're out there generating revenue. They're out there trying to escalate and get arrests, because arrest is what makes the officer get a promotion. Arrest is what makes the chief of police look good, because he gets on there and everybody thinks he's doing a great job. Look at all the arrests I got. So, all right, I will post it. I'll give you the link, and I'll post the pictures in here. And so let me know what you think about these bootlickers. They're insulted, and how dare I get on there and call out the police for something that they're doing or not doing. Till next time, people.